A desk, a pencil, a stack of notebooks 6 inches high. You're calculating the trajectory for a rocket that will carry a human being into space. By hand. No computer. No calculator. Just you, your brain, and your pencil. One mistake, and an astronaut dies. This was a human computer. In the 1940s and 50s, hundreds of women worked as computers at NASA. They calculated everything: rocket trajectories, orbital mechanics, flight paths to the moon. Then electronic computers arrived. This is the story of human computers, the brilliant women who put America in space. And here's the amazing part. Some of them are still at NASA today. Over the next 10 minutes, you're going to discover why computer used to mean a person, not a machine, how Harvard hired women in the 1880s for 25 cents an hour to map the stars, the woman who classified 400,000 stars by hand for 44 years, and how the brilliant women who calculated moon landings became the first programmers. But here's the wonderful part. Human computers didn't disappear when electronic computers arrived. They evolved, they learned to program, they became engineers. And one of them is still at NASA right now, at 86 years old, working on the mission to Jupiter. Let's start with what a human computer actually was. The first known written reference to the word computer. It meant one who computes, a person performing mathematical calculations. By the late 1800s, computing was a recognized profession. Astronomers needed calculations, engineers needed calculations, scientists needed calculations. But it was tedious work, time-consuming, the kind of work educated men didn't want to do. Harvard Observatory. A woman named Anna Winlock walked in and asked for a job as a computer. Edward Pickering, the director, had an idea. What if he hired women? They were educated, detail-oriented, and critically, cheap. 25 cents an hour. Low, even for the time. By 1880, every computer working at Harvard Observatory was a woman. They were pejoratively called Pickering's women. But the work they did. They examined photographic glass plates of the night sky, cataloged thousands of stars on each plate, performed calculations, assigned categories. Over a couple of decades, they created the first all-sky catalog, by hand, star by star, plate by plate. And one woman in particular became extraordinary. Annie Jump Cannon. Born in Delaware in 1863, her mother showed her the constellations, taught her to love the stars. 1897, Annie joined the Harvard Computers. She was 34 years old, and she worked there for the next 44 years. In that time, Annie Jump Cannon classified 400,000 stellar bodies, discovered over 300 variable stars, and created the Harvard classification system for stars, the system we still use today. O, B, A, F, G, K, M. Every astronomy student learns it. 1922. Her system was formally adopted internationally. 1925. She became the first woman to receive an honorary doctorate from Oxford University. But Harvard didn't give her a formal title until 1938, 2 years before she retired. And she wasn't the only one. Henrietta Swan Leavitt started as an unpaid volunteer. Jobs for women were that scarce. 1902, she finally got a paid position. Her work on Cepheid variable stars led to the creation of the cosmic distance ladder. Her discovery helped us measure the age of the universe. It's still instrumental in determining cosmic distances today. 1908, she published her breakthrough paper as sole author. 1912. The follow-up paper was published under Pickering's name, not hers. But her legacy? That couldn't be erased. The National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, NASA's predecessor. They hired their first 5 women as computers. Their job, reading, analyzing, plotting data from aircraft testing. Work that was beneath the engineers. Too time-consuming. Too tedious. 1942. About 75 computers versus 450 engineers. Then World War II. Suddenly, every calculation mattered. Aircraft design, propulsion, aerodynamics. They needed more computers. Many more. By 1946, about 400 women worked as computers at Langley alone. Over 200 at the University of Pennsylvania creating artillery trajectory tables. Barbara Canwright at JPL, a single calculation could take more than a week, filling 6 to 8 notebooks. After Pearl Harbor, she calculated the thrust-to-weight ratio for a 14,000-pound bomber. all by hand, pencil and graph paper. And here's what was remarkable. NASA let married women work, even women with children. Unusual for the time. Most employers fired women when they married. The pay, $1,440 to $1,620 per year in the 1940s, about $27,000 to $30,000 today. Higher than secretaries, but up to 40% less than male engineers doing similar work, and no promotion path. The engineers could advance, the computers could not. But the work they did, essential, brilliant, irreplaceable. World War II labor shortages. NACA opened positions to African American women for the first time. The West Area Computing Unit, a segregated unit for black women. Virginia's Jim Crow laws required separate work areas, separate bathrooms, separate cafeterias. And black applicants had to pass the same civil service exam as white women, plus a chemistry course at Hampton Institute. Despite every barrier, they excelled. Dorothy Vaughan joined in 1943. 1949. She became the first African-American woman manager at NACA. Late 1950s. She saw what was coming. Electronic computers, machines that would replace human computers. So Dorothy taught herself Fortran, the new programming language. Then she taught her entire team, ensuring their expertise wouldn't become obsolete, that they'd evolve with the technology. Katherine Johnson. Started in 1951, calculated Alan Shepard's first flight in 1961, John Glenn's orbit in 1962. And here's the beautiful part. John Glenn didn't trust the new electronic computers. They crashed. They made errors. He requested Katherine Johnson personally verify the calculations. She calculated the trajectory for Apollo 11, the moon landing. Mary Jackson. Started 1951. To become an engineer, she needed special permission from the city of Hampton to take courses at a segregated high school. She got it and became NASA's first black woman engineer. Annie Easley. Started 1955, one of 4 black employees among 2,500. 34-year career. Computer scientist, mathematician, rocket scientist. Led the team developing software for the Centaur upper stage rocket. These women didn't just do the work, they transformed the field. Fortran, formula translation, one of the first high-level programming languages for scientific calculations. Before Fortran, programmers wrote in binary or hexadecimal. Frustrating, labor-intensive. Fortran made programming faster, more accessible. Dorothy Vaughan saw the future, mastered it, taught her team. Throughout the 1960s, electronic computers gradually integrated into NASA. IBM 7090 computers controlled Mercury and Gemini flights, but the machines weren't trusted, not yet. 1962, John Glenn wouldn't launch until Katherine Johnson verified the numbers. And here's what's beautiful. The human computers didn't disappear. They learned to program the machines. They became engineers, mathematicians, computer scientists. Christine Darden started as a computer in 1967, became an aeronautical engineer, leader in sonic boom research. First black woman at Langley promoted to the senior executive service, the top federal rank. The job title changed. The technology changed. But the brilliance? That stayed constant. A woman named Sue Finley was hired for trajectory computations. I loved math, she said. She'd studied logic in college, got disenchanted with sales jobs and typing, wanted to use her brain. NASA gave her that chance. And here's the incredible part. Sue Finley is still at NASA. Right now, at 86 years old, she's NASA's longest-serving female employee. Currently, software tester and subsystem engineer, working on NASA's mission to Jupiter. From pencil and paper in 1958 to Jupiter missions in 2025. 67 years at NASA. Same woman, same brilliance. She's proof. Human computers didn't disappear, they just kept computing. The human computer didn't vanish when electronic computers arrived. She learned to program them. She verified their work when no one else could be trusted. She became an engineer, a rocket scientist, a leader. She classified 400,000 stars and created a system we still use today. She calculated the path to the moon. She wrote the software that powers rockets. She's 86 years old and working on a mission to Jupiter. 2016, Hidden Figures told their story to the world. 2019, Congress awarded them the Congressional Gold Medal, recognition that was decades overdue, but finally here. And today, women in STEM look back at these pioneers. The human computers who proved that brilliance doesn't need permission. It just needs opportunity. If this story inspired you, if it made you see the word computer differently, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories about the forgotten workers who built our modern world. And drop a comment. Which of these women inspired you most? Katherine, Dorothy, Annie, Sue. Because their legacy isn't just in history books, it's in every woman who works in STEM today. It's in Sue Finley, still computing, still brilliant, still proving what's possible.